ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to love the next story. The next story is going to hit you where it hurts. This one's going to swing. This one's going to swing. It's going to hit you right in the nuts. It's going to hurt. Because back in a simpler time, Chick-fil-A used to be a Christian company. Chick-fil-A is no longer a Christian company. Chick-fil-A, which is a company that I like, I eat their products. Unlike Target and unlike Bud Light, because I actually like drink real beer and not something that tastes like squirrel urine that has been siphoned through a tin can filled with sticks from your grandmother's gutter. That's Bud Light. I was never a huge fan of Bud Light. If I was at like a sporting event and I really had to drink like a light beer, I'd drink a Coors. Or I probably wouldn't drink Bud Light at all. Like really, I really wouldn't. I can't think of the last time I like chose to drink a Bud Light. And I don't choose to shop at Target. I don't shop at Target. I go into Target to do like videos to put up on our social media. That's the only time I go into Target. I don't buy a single thing. But I buy Chick-fil-A. Hot. Does this one hurt? Chick-fil-A's woke pledge to embed diversity in everything we do resurfaces online, angering fans of the Christian-founded chain after Bud Light and Target's alphabet scandals. Wow. So Chick-fil-A has a DEI page. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Here it is. We'll put it up. Not just me trying to sound off, because again, this one hurts. This one hurts. This is some personal pain that I'm going to go through on this. Sucks, guys. It sucks. Do I even have... I used to even have like a spare Chick-fil-A sauce in my desk. I used to even have like spare just in case I had emergency Chick-fil-A sauce in my desk. No longer. I shall swear off Chick-fil-A, ladies and gentlemen. So why would I do that? Well, because Chick-fil-A has now a diversity, equity, and inclusion vice president who's talking about inserting diversity into everything that Chick-fil-A does. Now, let's not even talk about what diversity means in the modern sense. Diversity in the modern sense means anti-whiteness. It means reverse racism. It doesn't mean all people. It doesn't mean a colorblind society. It means a reverse. Ibram X. Kendi, the people who actually created these initiatives, you can go back and read their manifestos. Ibram X. Kendi says there's no such thing as a colorblind society. He's the racial Marxist who's pushing all this pseudoscience garbage. All this like Nazi tautology garbage. Ibram X. Kendi says the only way to defeat racism, this is an exact quote, is more racism. That's what he says in his book. Robin DiAngelo, the same people, say this exact same thing. These people are racists by any other tautology or name. They want a segregated society. They want Berkeley to go have a black-only graduation like they've just had this last weekend. They are pushing for that. They want resegregation. They just want the power structures to now incentivize different racial groups, which is racist. It's Nazi tautology. This is Nazi-level thinking. That's where this comes from. And Chick-fil-A is down with it, baby. Chick-fil-A is saying, yeah, let's do that. Now, the other thing that I think is very important here for the Christians who want their Jesus chicken is that equity, another part of the DEI agenda, equity is unchristian. Okay? So they're now like racism is unchristian. Christ makes it very clear. The Good Samaritan is a great example of Christ, or when Christ needed his cross to be carried by someone, it was someone of like that the Jews saw as a lower social status, a foreigner. Many people say it was a black person that carried Christ's cross. His name was Simon? I think so. Ladies and gentlemen, the teachings of Christ, of course, are anti-racist because God imparts equality in all men. Our founders understood that. God didn't impart equity in all men. Equity is equal outcomes. That ain't Christian. That's not biblically based. Equity means the state needs to come in and force an equal outcome between you and somebody else who may have different amount of melanin in their skin because the state deems that your skin color is all that matters. We must have equity. equity. We must have an equal outcome, not equal opportunity, not you're the same as any other race or any other person or any other gender that's born in this country. You deserve the same opportunities. You deserve the opportunities that Ben Carson had when he was born, totally impoverished, into a broken home, living with rats and cockroaches inside of government housing in Detroit. Ben Carson goes on to be the greatest neurosurgeon the world has ever seen. A wealthy man, a famous man. Cuba Gooding Jr. plays him in a Hollywood movie. Runs for president, serves inside the Trump administration. You deserve that opportunity. Only in America could a child born of Ben Carson's station go on to do what Ben Carson did. That's called equality. Equity is saying that Ben Carson should stay exactly where he is, inside of that rat-infested cockroach house in Detroit, because that's just the way he was born. And more importantly, a white kid who's born inside of a suburb of Detroit, well, we need to knock them down a peg and make sure that they know what rat-infested cockroaches government living looks like. In fact, all people need to be in government housing. That would be equitable. All people need to essentially be just sitting on welfare inside of government housing. We should get rid of private property. We should get rid of private homes. That is equitable. Let's do that. We'll shove the agenda on everything is equally permissible inside of your own space, and you should have no opportunity to rise above your station. That's what equity agenda is, and that's what Chick-fil-A is embracing, ladies and gentlemen. I am enraged by this, disgusted by it. It is anti-white, it is anti-Christian. And by anti-white, what I mean is it's racist. Chick-fil-A going woke. Watch.
Maybe the most disappointing story of the day, Chick-fil-A going woke. The masters of fast food chicken hiring a vice president of diversity, equity, inclusion. Chick-fil-A's Better Together section on their website says, in part, one of our core values is that we're better together when we combine our unique backgrounds and experiences with a culture of belonging. We can discover new ways to strengthen the quality we deliver.
I call it a Trojan horse because it is. It's the use of language, which is powerful, in order to erode that which made America great in the first place, which is all men created equal by who? God. Why do you want equality exactly? Where is your moral grounding? Where does it come from? Where do your values come from? Oh, they come from a creator. All these American values that you aspire to, where does it come from? Chick-fil-A completely cucking or clucking on everything from their support of traditional marriage. They pulled the funding from the Salvation Army. So Chick-fil-A got badgered into pulling their funding from the Salvation Army. Okay? And another Catholic charity. Just because these people believed in the biblical teachings that have been around since the dawn of man. Chick-fil-A, ladies and gentlemen, the biggest fraud ever pulled on American Christians. That this is some type of like Christian company. Shame on them. Shame on them. Dan Cathy, who's the CEO of Chick-fil-A. Dan Cathy, during the height of BLM, had the audacity to get on a church, get on stage at a church, one of these woke churches that teaches that Jesus was tolerant. Let me tell you what. Go read your Gospels. Let me tell you someone who wasn't tolerant. Christ. Tolerance is not a Christian virtue. Dan Cathy, with this woke Christian mind virus, got on stage, got on his knees, and began to shame all white people, saying that we better get down on our knees and start shining shoes. Huh? We better start judging people by their skin color and debasing ourselves. Let me tell you something. When Christ washed the feet of the disciples, it was not because of their skin color. This is degenerate thinking from people that should know better. And shame upon you because you have a big platform, pal. Watch.
And at that revival on the front seat was an older African American man that was sitting there. And this young man got up that was there in that service, and he'd been so gripped with conviction about the racism that was in that local community in a small town in Texas that he took a shoe brush and he walked over to this elderly gentleman and he knelt on his knees and began to shine his shoes. And tears began to flow in that service. It was an attitude of conviction. So I invite folks just to put some words to action here. And if we need to find somebody that needs to have their shoe shine, we need to just go right on over and shine their shoes. And whether they got tennis shoes on or not, maybe they got sandals on, it really doesn't matter. But there's a time in which we need to have, some personal action here. Maybe we need to give them a hug too, brother.
And some stock in Chick-Fil-A.
I love the guy being like, "Yeah, give me stock. I don't need you to shine my shoes, you old goof. I need Chick-fil-A stock. Where's my franchise? How about you do something that actually gives me some value? How about a franchise?" Guy's like, "Don't shine my shoes. Get away from me, actually, you old creepy weirdo. You old inherited money goofball." Unbelievable, man. It is it is truly there is truly some rot at the base of the tree. And I think that we're due for a revival in this country. I think that enough of this, this is when Christ comes back, right? This is when Christ came the first time. We're due for a revival. I'm not saying that we're living through Revelation. Some people say that. This is when Christ's teachings have been warped and mutilated enough that essentially you're just doing reverse racism to go shine people's shoes based on their skin color. Yeah, dude, that's just judging people by their skin color. And also it's self-hatred, which is not what Christ taught. It's not Christ's teachings.